Hey, Novak, welcome back. Talk about your success here in Shanghai. In 2008, you win your first Masters Cup, which goes on ATP Finals, of course. You won 7 of them overall, and now winning 4 titles here at this tournament. Just talk about the great success you've had here over the years.
Yeah, over the years it has been amazing tournament for me to be playing in Shanghai. As you referred, back in 2008, I won my first Masters Cup, or World Tour Finals at the time. It was called Masters Cup. And it was, other than the slam that I won that year, my biggest trophy. So, you know, I felt obviously over the moon with that triumph, and the amount of support I've been getting since that year has been incredible in China, both Beijing and Shanghai. And I just love coming back and performing in front of the crowd. That always gives me great energy, great vibes. You know, every practice session it feels like playing a match, honestly, with the amount of people that is there, you know, screaming and really willing to show their support and show their love and passion for what I do. And so I feel very welcome. And that's probably the biggest reason why I decided to come here, to be honest with you, because I just feel good playing here and feel like at home. Probably outside of my country is the biggest support that I've been getting anywhere in the world.
Djokovic no vino a Shanghái solo por jugar, vino a recordar quién manda, es su territorio, donde siempre rindió al máximo y donde el público lo idolatra. Con estas palabras deja claro que, aunque su calendario sea más corto, aquí sigue queriendo ganar. Shanghái es, para él, sinónimo de dominio y legado.
Hello. Hello, Novak. As you know, fans love this intergenerational rivalry that you have going with Yannick and Carlos. Mm-hmm. You said after the US Open semi-final that it was a very, very difficult thing to compete with them over 5 sets. Do you like your chances against them over 3 sets? And other than the physicality, are there any other elements that are different between 3 and 5 sets in trying to beat them?
Well, I mean, the physicality is logically the biggest factor in the best of 3 rather than best of 5. But it's all connected, obviously, with the mental part and the game-wise. You know, if you're physically, you know, not at your 100% against these guys, you know, you feel like you're half a step slower, and that affects the whole game. It affects the whole play, the rallies, and you know, different aspects of the encounter. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I said after US Open, because I really felt that, you know, playing best of 5 against these guys at the latter stages of the tournament, it, you know, makes it really challenging for me, because I feel like I don't come in as fresh as as fresh as they do in the semis, and that's okay. I mean, that's just a biological fact that you know, eventually I have to accept. I'm still working, you know, my hardest that I possibly can in the circumstances to challenge the guys, or to challenge myself primarily, and really see how I can do on all the tournaments that I take part on. Of course, best of 3, duration of the tournament of, you know, ideally 7 days, but then you have most of the Masters events are played over almost 2 weeks, is where I feel I have better chance, you know, to win a trophy, or to you know, to make a significant result. You know, other than those matches that I lost to these best 2 players in the world, I think I've played really good tennis in Grand Slams and reached semifinals in each one of them. So it speaks about the level and the consistency, and so I'm pleased with that, of course. But at the same time, there's part of me that always, you know, is a winner, that, you know, wants to be the best. That you know, I've been fortunate to experience the greatest things in this sport across, you know, 20 years of my career. So it does feel, you know, not ideal, I guess, when you know, playing big matches and you're losing against currently the best players in the world. So, but nevertheless, that's not discouraging me to keep going. And I don't play tennis only for the sake of making results and winning trophies. There's, you know, several other reasons why I keep going, and one of them is obviously experiencing the love and support worldwide, and still hoping to contribute by participating in the big events to the growth of the tennis overall as a sport, and that's what gives me motivation. It gives me also goosebumps, every time I walk out on the court and people call my name and cheer for me. So it's a beautiful feeling.
Por primera vez, Djokovic reconoce lo inevitable. La edad pesa, pero también deja un mensaje entre líneas. En torneos de 3 sets, sigo siendo peligroso. No es una retirada, es una advertencia. El rey no está acabado, simplemente está eligiendo dónde y cuándo atacar.
Yeah, hello Novak. And you made clear your goal at this point of your career. I'm wondering, at your home, your kids now that are grown enough, what they think. They tell you, Dad, let's try another one, or it's okay like that? And then, Turin is 1 week, is at the best of 3 sets.
Yeah. Well, my son, he plays tennis more, and so he follows what's going on, and he was really insisting on traveling with me to China. He wants to travel with me everywhere, but he has to do school, and it's not that simple. But he's really in love with tennis and the sport, and yeah, my kids and my wife are my biggest supporters, and obviously when they're on the stadium and you've seen them, how they support, how passionately they care about and play with me every single point. So of course me seeing them on the stands, is even more inspirational. I love to have them, but at the same time, the kids cannot live daddy's life. They have to live their own life, and I try to support them and be there for them. And whether they feel like I have, they believe in me. They feel like they look at me as the best always, and so when I'm kind of down on myself, they remind me of of the things that I have accomplished, and why they still believe that I can do it. So their support is very meaningful to me. And you asked me about Turin. Yeah, it is a tournament where I had quite a bit of success in the last years. I won it 2 times, and hopefully I can be back. Let's see. I don't make plans long term anymore. I've said that. I said that in New York. So after Shanghai, the only tournament I know I'm going to play is the one in Athens, and then let's see if I play Turin or not. I'm not sure yet.
Last 2 questions from here. Djokovic se muestra humano, su hijo, su nueva fuente de energía, es también la razón por la que sigue compitiendo. Ya no busca solo trofeos, sino recuerdos. Pero ojo, cuando dice que sus hijos le recuerdan quién es, está dejando claro que aún se ve como el mejor. Su legado ahora se escribe en familia.
Hi, Novak. China Daily here. I want to ask you about the Shanghai Masters has gone through many editions with big upgrades every year, and with more top players playing here every year. What are your thoughts on the role this tournament has played in developing and promoting tennis worldwide, or more specifically in China, and also promote the city of Shanghai?
Yeah, well, look, we talked about in the beginning the fact that Shanghai hosted, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly how many years, I think it was 4 or 5 years, they hosted a Masters Cup, which is called World Tour Finals now, and then it became the Shanghai Rolex Masters 1000 event from 2009 onwards. And, other than COVID years that wasn't played, it was played every year, and I think it's a very important tournament for promotion of our sport globally, but particularly in Asia, in China and Asia and this part of the world, that maybe doesn't necessarily follow certain tournaments that are played in some other continents. So it's important that, there are big tournaments like this that promote tennis and attract more attention to this sport to young, for young people in China. China is, it's the biggest country in the world in terms of population with India, so and Chinese people love racket sports, we know that, and so there is a long history and tradition and culture of tennis, and ping pong and, you know, the other racket sports. We know that. So it's great. It's fantastic. You can see that there's a lot of excitement for the tennis in Shanghai, but also in Beijing. I mean, I haven't played Beijing since a long time, but, you know, I had great time in Beijing, great success in my career. And just, yeah, I just think it's a fantastic tournament that should keep on going, and we'll see, you know, that there's also quite a bit of interest to organize the WTA tournaments. You know, I mean, China, I mean, schedule-wise has many more women's tournaments, and the men's tournaments, obviously, historically, the biggest ones have been the Beijing and Shanghai, which are amazing. I mean, you can see, as you said, all the best players in the world have been playing traditionally in both of these tournaments.
No fue una respuesta política, fue estratégica. Djokovic sabe que Asia es el nuevo epicentro del tenis y se posiciona como su embajador natural. Al elogiar el torneo y al público, está asegurando su vínculo con el mercado más grande del mundo. Es el movimiento de alguien que piensa más allá de la pista.
Hi, Rebecca Bailey from AFP. Do you agree with the criticism of the schedule that have been made this week by Alcaraz, Swiatek and Coco Gauff? And sort of linked to that, do you sort of fancy your chances in a rematch against Jannik Sinner, given he's just finished playing?
I'll answer your second question first. I'd love to have a chance to play Jannik. That means that I'll reach the semifinals, which would be great. We'll see, obviously. I mean, he's been winning most of the matches that we played against each other lately. And we played finals last year here. It was a good match. So hopefully I get my chance again. And can you just tell me exactly what they were complaining about when it comes to schedule? What exactly about the schedule?
Djokovic sonríe, pero detrás hay fuego competitivo. Dice que le encantaría volver a enfrentarse a Jannik, pero todos saben lo que eso significa. Quiere revancha. Sinner lo venció en las últimas batallas y Novak no olvida. Si ese duelo se da en Shanghai, será más que un partido. Será una lucha entre presente y leyenda viva.
Yeah, basically that it's too packed. There's too many tournaments, the season's too long, and it doesn't give players enough time to properly recover.
Okay. Well, I was personally against the extension of the days of duration of the Masters 1000 events. I felt from the very beginning I was against it. Actually, even when I was in the council, I think I was at the time president of the council, so I was not supportive of that. I think for the players, not good. From one perspective, you could say, I mean, for me, in my age right now, have a days between the tournaments is good, but I think overall, for most of the players, it just takes away the days in the schedule, in the calendar. And personally, I'm not supportive of that. I understand that there's upside to the tournaments and so forth, but as a player, I never liked that. So I do empathize or sympathize with players who are against that, because now they are realizing, I guess, that it's not really great. But at the same time, look, you know, you always have, it's an individual sport. So there are choices to be made. In the end of the day, you can still make choices. You know, I see that some players maybe say, well, there are rules imposed, etc., but there are rules imposed for bonus. So you can miss the bonus, but it's the choice that you are willing to make if you want to play less. But then there are exhibitions as well that players are signing up for. So it's a little bit contradictory. Yeah, I guess I've been talking about this topic for so many years, you know. This is not first time, and people who know me and know my press conferences and my time in the council, they know that, you know, more than 15 years ago, I was talking about, you know, us needing to come together and reorganize the schedule and the calendar. Even way before the 30-year deal plan came to realization with Masters events. But you know, it's a very long topic, so I don't know where to start, where to finish, to be honest. It's very complex. It's not that simple, you know. I don't want to sound like I'm supportive or not supportive, because there's different elements that you have to take in consideration, you know. The monopoly that has been created in this sport has been very strong for the last, you know, 4 decades. And there are people who just don't want to change things in our sport, you know, for the better in terms of when it comes to the players' welfare. You know, because everybody works in their own interest, and that's logical, I guess, business sense. In the end, as a player and as someone that has been playing on the highest level for more than 20 years, I can say that the players are not united enough, and players are not participating enough when they should be. So they make the comments and they complain, and then they go away, and then if something is wrong after a certain amount of time, they come back again. And then, but you have to invest the time, you have to invest the energy, yourself, not your agent, not your team, not your parents, not anybody, yourself, to dedicate yourself to understand how the system works, to understand what are the things that can be done to be reversed, to be improved in terms of the players' interest. And for that to happen, you need the top players particularly, you know, to sit down, roll up their sleeves, and really care a bit more about participating and understanding all of the hot topics, so to say. Because, you know, going out in the media and talking about this and that, okay, it might stir up some energy or some attention, but in the end of the day, it's not going to change. Nothing is going to change, you know. I know it because from my personal experience, trust me. So, yeah, it's quite a complex topic. Thank you.
Aquí sale su lado rebelde, critica abiertamente el sistema y acusa a los jugadores de no estar unidos. Su mensaje es claro, el tenis necesita un cambio, pero nadie se atreve a mover las piezas. Djokovic habla como un veterano que ya no solo quiere ganar partidos, sino cambiar el juego.